This is my take on a 4x4 Pentagon-1. This puzzle, which is officially known as the Stellated Pentagon-1, is my entry in this year's Puzzle Advent Calendar, a yearly collaboration showing off 24 never-before-seen puzzles throughout the month of December, with a different creator posting each day. Be sure to subscribe to Alpha Twist so you catch their video tomorrow, and check out the playlists in the description to see all the previous videos this year. Now, 4x4 Pentagon-1. What exactly does that mean? Well, to understand where this name comes from, we have to understand the series of puzzles that it comes from. One way to define a square one is by the angular size of its pieces. Whatever this angle is here. We know that on a square one, each face has one edge and two halves of corners. We can write an equation, n, where n, for this case, equals 4, where the number of faces, multiplied by 3 times whatever this angle is, must equal 360, because this is a full rotation. We can then solve for x here by simply rearranging the equation. So we divide both sides by 3n and simplify. So we know that the size of this angle right there must be 30. For n equals 4, x equals 120 divided by 4 equals 30 degrees. For n equals 5, it's the same thing. 24 degrees. So we know that for any polygon, these must be the angles of the pieces. So for example, excuse my poorly drawn pentagon, we know that this angle here must be 24 degrees, as it's just this equation. If you are familiar with square one geometry, you may already understand that an odd-sided polygon can't exist in this form without being just a fancy 1x1x3. To see why this is, consider the slice. We know that on a square one, the slice is a 180 degree line because it cuts the puzzle in half. And it must follow that 180 divided by x must be some integer. Because what this expression is giving the number of x on each half of the slice. So this is 30 degrees, this is 60 degrees, this is 30 degrees, and this is 60 degrees. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we know that 180 divided by 30 is indeed 6. So for the square one, this checks out. What about a hexagon? This line right here is our slice. We know that this is 20 degrees because 120 divided by 6 is equal to 20. So let's count. 20, this is 40 degrees, this is 20. And indeed, 180 divided by 20 is 9. But now let's think about a pentagon. We know that x is equal to 24 degrees, so this angle is 24 degrees. Then we would have 48 degrees, 24 degrees, 48 degrees, 24 degrees. This looks like a slice, but let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But that's interesting because 180 divided by 24 is not 7. 180 divided by 24 is indeed 7.5, meaning this isn't our slice. So then what is? It would be that. And this little sliver right in here accounts for that 0.5. This is not an integer. And this straight line cuts through the middle of a piece. So a pentagon of n equals 5 does not work. So then, can a pentagon 1 actually be made? Well, according to this definition, no. But there is one other definition that I quite enjoy, which is the basis for this whole project. So instead of looking at the angles of the pieces, let's instead focus on the cuts which make them up. The characteristic square one move is the slice move. And geometrically, the slice is just this line. Or I actually prefer to call the slice these two lines. On a square one, these are mirrored versions of one another. They are the same line, mirrored about the origin. So, one way to create a square one from this definition is to draw a line and its mirror, constrain the angles to be at 30 degrees from each other, and copy this whole construction to each face. This is the exact same construction as the other one, except the way we got there was based on these lines, which create two pieces, as opposed to two lines that create just one piece. And for all even-sided polygons, both of these constructions give the same exact result. But for odd-sided polygons, we find something very interesting. The first thing is, though, is that when you are drawing a line, where should it connect to? There isn't exactly an opposite face parallel to this one. So where do you connect this line to? The idea here is to find the closest face nearest to where the parallel one would be. So that's this face and this face. So what we do is draw a line that connects those two. Now we continue with the rest of the process. Mirror it, copy that to each face, and constrain this angle here to be 24 degrees. Then this becomes our slice. And this is the exact same construction that Akkei had in their Pentagon-1. So big shout outs to Akkei for coming up with this idea first, even if the way that they constructed it was technically different from how I constructed it. This definition of the square one is the basis for both the 4x4 square one and the 4x4 Pentagon-1. But what exactly is a 4x4 square one? What makes it a 4x4? Well, let's think about what a 3x3 is to a 4x4. If you look at these lines, you may notice that the 4x4 has one more line than on a 3x3. So what if we applied this same idea to a square one? To construct a 4x4 square one, let's go over what we must know that it has to have. we know that both sides of this middle line will be identical and have two pieces on either side. So we know that there has to be a point on this square on the middle of each face. We also know approximately there should be cuts here. But how do we get those? Well, it's quite obvious. You just connect these. And we do the same for here. And we know that this has to be 30 degrees. And then you just do that for every face. And boom. 4x4 square 1. You have a 4x4 square 1. And this puzzle does a lot of the same things as on a regular square one, just more of it. And it's chiral. These two pieces are different. So that makes it a very interesting solve. Not that I would know. I do not know how to solve it. Cubes Made Easy's waterfall cube is also extremely similar to this puzzle, and I think they might be fundamentally identical, but I don't know. Go check out their video for that. But what about a pentagon? What do we do here? Well, we know that the middle here must be a part of the construction, and it must have approximately these points on each face. Then it becomes obvious what to do. You connect these two and these two. Then this angle here becomes 24 degrees. And when you copy this to each face, you get this, which is not quite what I built. And that is because these two lines are not identical. On the stellated square one, these two lines were identical because this line rotated becomes this other line. But here, there's no rotation that would turn this into the other one. And I hope that's a little obvious in the fact that these two lines have a different radius from the center, meaning they could not possibly be the same line. So what I did instead was I just chose one of them. I chose the left one and ignored the other one, which, if you think about it, is not that different from the regular stellated square one, because this line is really the only line that's there, because when you rotate this on all of the faces, you get the same thing. These are all the same cut line. There's really only one. It just looks like there is more because they're not at the center. So for the Pentagon one, it's the same thing. There's only one line. I do want to make a, quote, canonical version of the Stellated Pentagon-1, which includes both sides of the cuts. But as it stands right now, I don't have the ability to make that because I would need screws that are much shorter than the ones I currently own, which is why I had to settle for just the left half for the puzzle advent calendar. I do also eventually want to make the other half of the puzzle using the other cut, but that's for some time in the future. So how did this puzzle actually turn out? Well, pretty poorly actually. The top and bottom turns are very, very stiff, and they're hard to make, and you have to put a lot of force into them. And I think that's because of the way that I finished the puzzle, which my finishing process is, after printing the puzzle, I will apply a very thick coat of black spray paint to the whole thing, and then sand it from there. The reason why I do that is to create a more sort of uniform, flat surface, basically to get rid of the 3D print lines across the puzzle. But my only issue with doing that is I do it assembled, which is when spray paint gets into the core and sides of pieces, and it just makes the whole thing full of friction, which is not ideal. So next time I definitely want to try just doing the outer sides of the pieces, being very careful not to hit the core, but I won't know if that's actually causing the friction until I test it. So that's just my theory. Now for stickering this puzzle, I just used the stickers that I had, which I bought off of Amazon. But the yellow stickers here, I actually had to apply two layers to them. You can see that right there. You can see two on top of each other because my yellow stickers right now are a little translucent and I didn't want the black to poke through, so I just applied 2 layers. But why did I choose all cool colors to go around the center instead of the typical red, orange, green, blue, purple color scheme for pentagons? Well, that's because I don't like that for pentagons, because I really like the idea that on a prism, faces opposite one another would pair with each other color-wise. But for odd-sided prisms, that isn't really a thing. Opposite this face is an edge. So what I tried to do instead was have it such that this face would pair with sort of both almost opposite faces of it. So this I tried to pair with this face and this face. This I tried to pair with these 2 faces. Same for here and here, etc. And to do that, it had to be all in the same sort of color gradient. So I just all chose cool colors, which is very similar to the last pentagonal prism that I made, where I also chose all cool colors, except for green on one of the faces, which I didn't want to do on this one because I thought here it stands out a little because everything else is all just blues and teals. But I really like having cool colors for pentagons. It's something I like, and so I did it, because why not? So what about how this puzzle actually solves? Well, I don't know much because I don't know how to solve this, and I don't even know how to solve the stellated square one. So I'm not sure how I would even fare with this, or even a regular pentagon one. So the only thing that I can say is that the basic, back swapping algorithm that works on everything also works on this one. And it swaps these pieces. And then if you do the same but the other way, it swaps these pieces in the front. But because you can swap these pieces and these pieces, that means you pretty easily have a 3-cycle for both the left sides of edges and the right sides of edges. Because all you have to do is just that algorithm separated by a single turn, and then you do the same thing again. And that will 3-cycle all of these edges. So because there are ways to swap corners and edges, just like there are on pretty much every other square one type puzzle, I feel pretty confident in being able to solve this, assuming it were already in cube shape. But if it's out of cube shape, or pentagon shape, I highly doubt I'll be able to get it back. But if it is scrambled in this same shape, I do think I would be able to get done solving it. And I can imagine this being an extremely fun solve, but I don't know, because I don't know how to solve this, and I don't have enough time to figure out how to solve this. So that's everything I have to say about my Stellated Pentagon-1. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this new format, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!